Okay, let's unpack this. You know how sometimes you stumble upon a text, a story, maybe a philosophy that's just so rich, so layered, it feels like a whole universe just contained within its pages. Well, today, we're diving deep into one such monumental work, the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Our mission really is to distill its vast wisdom, understand its core tenets, its main ideas, and maybe discover why it has resonated so strongly through the ages. It offers such profound insights into, existence, karma, the whole human journey. Our aim is to give you a really full understanding, like a comprehensive overview, trying to get all the detailed information in there for the best possible experience.
And what's truly fascinating here is that this isn't just some collection of ancient tales or, old historical records. It's presented as a direct, quite powerful path to purification and understanding. The source material itself highlights it as, and this is a quote, a means other than this conducive to the purification of the mind, nothing less.
Wow, okay.
And here's where it gets even more profound, I think. It's said that one gets to hear Srimad Bhagavata only when there is virtue earned in one's past lives.
Only then.
Yes. It suggests this unique, almost predestined kind of encounter for those who are truly prepared. So we're going to explore what makes this text so transformative. We'll look at its really intricate cosmology, its huge cast of key figures, and the profound lessons it holds for navigating life, especially maybe in challenging times like the Kali age, which it talks a lot about.
Exactly. Think of it as, well, maybe not a shortcut, but a really definitive way to become truly well-informed about a cornerstone of ancient Indian thought. Without getting totally overwhelmed, hopefully, we'll extract those surprising nuggets of knowledge, explore the deepest implications, and give you just enough context and insight to keep you hooked and, truly enlightened. So, are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's dive in. The gateway to the Bhagavata, its unique significance and setting. Okay, let's start right at the beginning. The gateway to the Bhagavata. Let's explore its unique significance and the truly legendary setting where its wisdom was first revealed. The text itself makes this astonishingly bold claim about its spiritual power. It says the Srimad Bhagavata is the ultimate means for mind purification. The source says, there is no means other than this conducive to the purification of the mind. That isn't a casual statement, right? It's positioning the Bhagavata not just as one way, but as the singular, unparalleled means to get mental clarity, spiritual cleanliness. It's quite a declaration, isn't it?
It truly is a massive claim, and that ties directly into this fascinating prerequisite mentioned in our sources. It said, like I mentioned, one gets to hear Srimad Bhagavata only when there is virtue earned in one's past lives.
Right. You said that. Virtue earned.
Yeah. And this isn't about, exclusive physical access, like only certain people can read it. It seems to speak more to a deep spiritual readiness. It implies that encountering such a profound, transformative text isn't just coincidence. It's maybe the culmination of accumulated good deeds, spiritual merit, you could say, from previous lives.
So a kind of karmic reward almost.
Sort of, yeah. It suggests that for its true understanding and benefit, you need an inherent receptivity, a kind of resonance. It's almost like the universe aligns to bring you to this knowledge when you are spiritually prepared to receive it.
That's a powerful idea, the universe aligning when you're prepared. And the setting for this revelation really underscores its sacred weight, doesn't it? The sources describe this grand assembly. The great sage Shuka takes his seat to explain the Holy Scripture to King Parikshit. And Parikshit, he's on the verge of death, right? Desperately seeking spiritual truth.
Exactly. A very charged situation.
But it gets even more extraordinary. It says, the gods arrive there in a body actually holding a pitcher full of nectar.
Yeah. Amazing image.
It isn't just any old audience. It's a celestial endorsement, a divine spectacle, really.
Indeed. The arrival of the gods, these divine beings, actually holding a pitcher of Amrita, nectar. It symbolizes the text's extraordinary reverence and immense spiritual weight. Nectar, in Vedic tradition, it's linked with immortality, divine knowledge. Their presence elevates the Bhagavata to this divine status. It suggests its wisdom is as potent, as life-giving as the nectar itself. It's presented as the best of all righteous courses, declaring that through the hearing of it is attained Sri Krishna who dwells in Vaikuntha. So it's not just a promise of knowledge, but a promise of the ultimate spiritual attainment.
Okay, that's a huge promise, attaining Krishna. So for you, our listener, what does attaining Krishna mean in a broader sense? Is it like a literal meaning or something more internal?
That's a great question. In the context of the Bhagavata, Attaining Krishna signifies achieving the ultimate state of spiritual fulfillment, liberation. It's certainly not limited to a literal physical meeting, though, that could be an outcome for some. More universally, it represents this profound realization of your inherent eternal connection to the Supreme Being, Lord Krishna. This state means liberation from the cycles of suffering, rebirth, attaining pure, selfless, divine love, merging into the ultimate reality of pure consciousness, pure bliss. It's seen as the highest spiritual goal, where the individual soul realizes its true identity, its eternal relationship with the divine, and sheds all those material misconceptions.
Okay, that makes sense. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Despite all this profound significance, divine endorsement being the best of all righteous courses, the sources also highlight this fascinating paradox, a challenge to the Bhagavata's value in the current era, the Kali age. It states, out of greed for food grains, the story of the Lord is repeated by Brahmanas in every home and to all and sundry. Hence, the value of the story is gone.
Strong words.
Right. That's quite a provocative statement. How can something so profoundly sacred just lose its value? Is it truly diminished, or is something else going on here?
Yeah, that raises a really important, subtle question. It goes right to the heart of spiritual practice. It's probably not the inherent value of the text itself that diminishes because, its truths are considered eternal. Rather, it's perhaps the intention and the purity of its transmission and its reception that impacts how effective it is.
The intention.
Exactly. The Bhagavata emphasizes that sacred knowledge isn't just information, it's a transformative power. So when that sacred knowledge becomes like a commodity, when it's propagated for materialistic gain, like the greed for food grains suggests, or maybe when it's heard without proper reverence or understanding, its transformative power gets diluted, for both the speaker and the listener. The purity of intent in giving and receiving is absolutely crucial for it to work spiritually. It's like a diamond, right? Its intrinsic value doesn't change, but if you treat it like a common stone or its facets get clouded by dust, its brilliance, its perceived value definitely declines. The Bhagavata seems to be saying that the purity of the vessel, the person sharing the knowledge, and the heart receiving it profoundly impact its effect. 2. The Kali age. A deep dive into its characteristics and implications.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about the container and the intention, not just the content. Which brings us nicely to the Kali age, which is depicted as this challenging but also fascinating spiritual environment. So let's take a deep dive into its characteristics, its implications. How does the Bhagavata define this age? What makes it so unique?
Well, the Kali Yuga is primarily described as an age that takes away the purity of men's heart and is thus difficult to conquer. It's characterized by a progressive decline in moral, spiritual values, an increase in unrighteousness, a general shortening of human lifespan and intellect, too. But what's truly fascinating and often overlooked, I think, is that it's also referred to as the protege of Lord Venu.
Protege. That sounds counterintuitive.
It is. It's a profound paradox. It
Yeah.
suggests there's a divine purpose behind its existence, a deliberate allowance by the Lord, with a view to securing the happiness, blessedness of those born in Kali. It's almost as if the challenges of the Kali Yuga are themselves a kind of divine mercy.
How so?
Well, perhaps by simplifying the spiritual quest, stripping away distractions, and making devotion uniquely potent when other, more complex paths become really difficult or inaccessible. This insight suggests that even in an era of decay, there's a specific, potent path for salvation available, uniquely suited to its conditions.
A divine paradox, then. An age of decay, yet divinely sanctioned, maybe even beneficial for a specific spiritual purpose. That's a truly unexpected nugget. So what are the more specific, tangible symptoms of this moral and spiritual decay the Bhagavata warns about?
The text paints a rather grim and detailed picture of decline, almost like a prophecy. It states that due to the practice of evil deeds, the substance has disappeared from everything in the present age. Like the husk devoid of grain, all things on earth stand divested of their substance.
Wow, divested of their substance.
Yeah. It's not just material decay, it's this pervasive loss of inherent meaning, essence, integrity in everything human character, even the elements of nature. The sources predict a future where there will be no discourses on 𝗂𝗅𝗽𝗏, even in the residences of pious souls.
Even in pious homes.
Even there, implying a complete spiritual drought, a societal breakdown where traditional wisdom is just abandoned. Traditional social orders are predicted to collapse, with the twice-born, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, will turn heretics, and the Shudras will become the rulers of men. This signifies not just a shift in social hierarchy, but a complete reversal of established moral and ethical governance.
So, a comprehensive breakdown, spiritual discourse, societal order, the very essence of things. It even mentions those specific sacred sounds, 𝗬𝗏, which are key to Vedic sacrifices, will be heard no more. That signifies a complete stop to traditional sacrificial rites. That's a profound spiritual drought, like cutting off humanity's connection to higher realms through ritual.
Precisely. And this pervasive spiritual decay profoundly impacts judgment itself. It says people will, more often than not, condemn the Veda, the Brahmanas, Lord Vyu, and his devotees, their judgment being warped by the Kali age, which is dominated by unrighteousness. It describes a kind of spiritual blindness, a cognitive dissonance where righteousness is actively attacked, and traditional time-tested wisdom is rejected because of this pervasive influence of unrighteousness. It's a fundamental shift in perception, making it incredibly difficult for people to tell truth from falsehood.
That sounds incredibly challenging, especially if our very judgment is warped.
Yeah.
So what about the path of misguided actions in the Kali age? The text talks about people's judgment being warped, leading them down dangerous paths.
Yes, the Bhagavata warns strongly against these arbitrary lifestyles, those not supported by the Vedas and which has been indiscriminately followed as one blind man follows another.
Blind leading the blind.
Exactly, and the consequence is severe. They will descend into the dark abyss of hell by their own choice. This highlights a critical, timeless theme: the danger of relying on self-devised paths or popular but ultimately unfounded practices for spiritual progress. Without the guiding light of scripture or genuine wisdom, individuals risk self-destruction, falling into deeper illusion because they are literally following others who are just as blind. It's a stark warning against intellectual and spiritual arrogance.
So what can we, listening now, learn from these ancient warnings about the importance of discernment? Especially today, in this age of information overload, it feels incredibly relevant.
It absolutely is, strikingly relevant. These ancient warnings serve as a timeless caution against, intellectual and spiritual laziness. They're a profound call for critical discernment. In our current age, where anyone can declare themselves an authority online and popular narratives can quickly overshadow deep truths, the Bhagavata's emphasis on Vedic support, on traditional verified guidance, speaks directly to the need for careful scrutiny. It urges us to question the source, look beyond superficial popularity, examine the intention behind the message, and consider the ultimate long-term consequences of the paths we choose. It reminds us that true knowledge isn't just accumulating data, but discerning wisdom that leads to lasting well-being and truth, rather than blindly following trends or arbitrary beliefs. It's about cultivating an inner compass, especially when external ones seem to be failing. 3. The Supreme Being, 𝗫𝗏𝗃𝗃, his manifestations, qualities, and cosmic role.
That's a great takeaway for navigating modern life, that inner compass. Now let's move to the very heart of the Bhagavata's philosophy, the Supreme Being. Referred to variously as Lord 𝗫𝗏𝗃𝗃 or Naraya, the text describes him through his divine manifestations, his transcendental qualities, and his cosmic role as the ultimate architect. Let's start with the avatars, the Lord's dissensions, which are maybe some of the most famous stories.
Right. The Bhagavata details numerous descents, or avatars, each appearing for a specific purpose, often restoring cosmic balance or imparting profound lessons. For instance, Lord Roma, described as the 18th descent, assumed the form of a ruler of men, performed heroic feats like bridging the ocean.
The ideal king.
Exactly. Embodying Dharma, showing how divine power can manifest in human form to uphold righteousness, overcome impossible obstacles through courage and duty. Then we have Balaroma and Sirikanta, the 19th and 20th descents, born among the Vrishnis, who relieved the earth of its burden. Their appearance signifies a direct divine intervention to deal with unrighteousness, establish divine order, leading into the Mahabharata narratives.
And some dissensions are really dramatic, full of symbolism and raw power. Like Narasimha, the man-lion, the 14th manifestation, tore with his claws the bosom of the most powerful demon king, 𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗵𝗃. That's quite an image of ferocious justice.
Indeed, a powerful, terrifying image. It signifies the divine's absolute power to intervene against seemingly insurmountable evil, even when conventional means fail. Narasimha represents ultimate protection for his devotee, the impossible made possible. Similarly, Vamana, the dwarf, the 15th descent, visited the sacrifice of Bali, the demon king, and humbly asked for 3 paces of land.
Just 3 steps.
Right, with the covert intention of robbing him of his kingdom of heaven. This shows the Lord's ingenuity, subtle power. Through apparent humility, a small request, he cleverly outmaneuvers a powerful demon, reclaiming cosmic realms, teaching a lesson about true generosity and ego.
And we also hear about earlier sort of foundational forms, right? Those that played roles in cosmic creation itself.
Yeah.
Like the divine tortoise, 𝗫𝗵, bearing on his back Mount Adara, the churning rod during the churning of the ocean.
Yes, a crucial role.
And then the mighty boar, 𝗲𝗏𝗪, who sportfully lifted the earth out of the depths of the ocean on your tusks, even as a lordly elephant would lift a lotus plant roaring. These are incredible, vivid images of cosmic function. They paint a picture of the divine not just as a static ruler, but an active participant in the ongoing cosmic drama.
Absolutely. These avatars, if we connect this to the bigger picture, they aren't just random appearances. They're perfectly calibrated responses to specific cosmic needs, always restoring balance, imparting wisdom through their actions. They illustrate the Lord's boundless compassion, infinite power, unwavering commitment to cosmic order. And even for the future, the Bhagavata predicts Kalki, appearing at the close of the Kali age as the punisher of Kali, signifying a final, decisive restoration of righteousness, wrapping up the cycle of ages.
And there's also 𝗲𝗏𝗪, born of King 𝗫𝗵𝗵, who established himself in his spiritual essence and practiced uninterrupted meditation, appearing as an idiot. This one seems different, emphasizing renunciation, inner absorption, rather than active intervention.
Absolutely right. 𝗲𝗏𝗪's manifestation illustrates a different but equally vital aspect of divine purpose. He exemplifies the path of complete detachment, self-realization, even to the point of appearing, well, socially unconventional, like an idiot to the mundane eye. This state, paramahasa, is one of profound absorption. It highlights that the divine manifests not just as a powerful warrior or righteous king, but also as a quiet, introspective sage, offering diverse paths to liberation, showing that true spiritual power can be found in internal stillness just as much as external action.
So avatars are powerful deeds, but also profound teachings embodied in action, showing the many ways the divine interacts with creation. Beyond manifestations, the Bhagavata describes the Lord's transcendental qualities, his infinite virtues. What does it say about his ultimate reality? Where does he stand?
The Bhagavata unequivocally asserts, "You are God himself, the primal person, existing beyond prakriti matter. Casting aside moyo by the power of your wisdom, you stand in your absolute being." This defines the Lord as the ultimate, unconditioned reality, completely distinct from the material world and its illusions. Prakriti is the primordial material energy, the basic stuff. Moyo is that divine power of illusion that creates and sustains the material world, makes it seem real and separate.
Right, the illusion.
So by saying the Lord casts aside moyo by his wisdom, the text emphasizes his absolute transcendence, his control over all manifested reality. He's pure, perfect, beyond beginning or end, the supreme consciousness.
And the list of virtues he embodies.
Yeah.
It's truly comprehensive, isn't it? Not just powerful, but embodying every conceivable positive quality. The source lists. Wow. Truthfulness, purity, compassion, forbearance, liberality, contentment, guilelessness, composure, subjugation of senses, austerity, evenness, endurance, quietism, sacred knowledge, self-realization, dispassion, lordship, heroism, majesty, strength, judgment, independence, dexterity, loveliness, fortitude, gentleness, intelligence, modesty, amiability, quickness of mind, acuteness of senses, bodily vigor, good fortune, sobriety, steadiness, reverence, good reputation, absence of egotism. It's exhaustive, an encyclopedia of divine perfection.
It is, and it emphasizes these excellent virtues are ever present in him and never decline. This isn't just a list of good traits, it's a philosophical blueprint for perfection itself. The ultimate synthesis of every positive quality, complete, unwavering, and crucially, it offers a guide for our own spiritual development. By cultivating these virtues, we start reflecting that divine nature. What's more, it says, he, however, disappears from our view when he is assailed by the sophistical reasoning of the wicked.
Disappears.
How?
It's not like punishment. It suggests that intellectual arrogance, perverse logic, a cynical, unrighteous mindset can literally obscure our perception of the divine. The divine isn't hidden by choice, but becomes inaccessible to a mind clouded by negativity, ill intent. So, perception of the divine is ultimately about spiritual insight and purity, not just dry rational analysis.
So what does this all mean for you, listening? It paints this picture of a supreme being who isn't just powerful or detached, but embodies every positive quality, fierce, gentle, all-encompassing, utterly pure. It's not just about what he does, but what he is. The ultimate reality isn't some abstract force, but a conscious, benevolent, infinitely virtuous being. Understanding these qualities gives us a framework for aspiration. By cultivating these virtues ourselves, we can align with that divine nature. It's a blueprint for true excellence, fulfillment, a beacon for growth. Fascinating. Now let's shift to his cosmic role, the architect of the universe. The Bhagavata goes into incredible detail about creation, not just as one event, but an ongoing, intricate process. How does it describe the manifestation of the cosmic body? The source material says that cosmic body manifested itself of its own accord as one, the heart, as the 10 vital airs, and as 3 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃, 𝗤𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃, and 𝗪𝗵𝗆 aspects. This outlines the initial spontaneous manifestation of the divine as the fundamental structure of existence. Think of these 3 aspects as layers of being. 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 is the inner, individual, spiritual realm, our self-consciousness. 𝗤𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃 covers the divine forces, deities governing the universe, sun, moon, natural powers. And 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 is the gross material world we see, the elements, beings within it. So the cosmic body manifests as this intricate, interwoven reality where the individual, the divine, and material are all inherently connected, all coming from the same source.
And the universe itself is huge, according to the book Avatar, right? An egg-shaped universe, 40 million miles wide. That's staggering for an ancient text.
Indeed. Vast. And not just vast, it's intricately layered like a celestial onion. This cosmic egg, the Brahmanda, is covered outside by 7 sheaths, viz. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, the ego, and the Mahatattva, each 10 times larger than the one it surrounds. It gives us this multi-layered concentric model. Each layer is a subtly more expansive dimension. Innermost is earth, then water, fire, air, ether, space, then the even subtler layers of ego, false ego, sense of I, separate from divine, and Mahatattva, total cosmic intelligence. The material universe we live in is just the innermost shell of this grand, conscious, expanding creation.
And it doesn't stop there. The text also goes into the elemental evolution, how everything unfolds from subtle to grosser states, almost like an ancient cosmology theory.
Yes, it details a precise, systematic sequence showing the universe's intricate design. It explains how, from the element of air was evolved fire. From fire sprang up water. From water came into being the earth. Each new element inherits and combines the qualities of its predecessors. So, subtle ether gives rise to air, sound, touch. Air brings fire, adding color. Water adds taste. Earth adds smell, becoming the densest, most multi-sensory. This systematic unfolding isn't just an old science model. It's a statement about interconnectedness. Every element carries the essence of those before it. It shows a universe design with inherent intelligence, a precise, logical progression, not just random chance.
And what about the origins of mind and deities within this grand scheme? How do those vital aspects emerge?
The Bhagavata explains that from the Sattvika ego sprang up the cosmic mind, and the 10 deities severally presiding over the 5 senses of perception and the 5 organs of action. The Sattvika ego is the pure, intelligent aspect of ego, free from passion and ignorance. This cosmic mind is the universal reservoir of thought, consciousness. And the 10 deities are the governing powers behind our senses, indriyas, perception, sight, hearing, etc., and action, speech, grasping, etc. This shows how not just elements, but consciousness itself, the individual mind, the divine forces governing our senses and actions, all come from the supreme ego, highlighting a very interconnected, divine-centric view.
So we have this incredible cosmic blueprint originating from the supreme being, and then comes Brahma, the secondary creator. The text says Brahma himself emanated from this very lotus, which sprang from the Lord's navel. What was Brahma's specific role after emerging?
Right. After emanating from that cosmic lotus representing the source of manifestation, Brahma, the creative intelligence, started creating hierarchy of the various worlds according to the plan evolved by him in the preceding kalpas. He's not the original creator, but the secondary architect, structuring the universe based on divine blueprints used in previous creation cycles. This suggests a cyclical nature: creation, dissolution, recreation. Brahma acts as the meticulous engineer for each new cosmic manifestation, setting up planetary systems, setting the stage for living beings.
And if there's creation and manifestation, there must be dissolution, right? What happens then? Where do all these layers and beings go?
Indeed. The Bhagavata describes this as the night of universal dissolution, Prahlada. At this time, the moon and the sun as well disappear, and all the 3 worlds, viz. 𝗵𝗆 and 𝗕𝗵𝗆, get reabsorbed into his body. 𝗵 is earth, 𝗵𝗆 is intermediate space, lower heavens, 𝗕𝗵𝗆 is higher celestial realms. All these worlds, their inhabitants, get progressively reabsorbed back into the Supreme Being, like a dream dissolving when you wake up. Even the sages, Bhugu and others who have their abode in the Maharloka ascend from the Maharloka to the Janaloka, the next higher world. So it's a complete reabsorption back into the Supreme Being, followed by advanced souls ascending to even higher, subtler realms awaiting the next creation cycle. A grand cosmic inhale and exhale, always related to the divine source.
What's truly fascinating here is just the sheer scale, the systematic nature, the cyclical aspect of this cosmology. Not just a simple creation story, but a detailed cosmic architecture, beginning, middle, end all, originating from and returning to the Supreme Being, a complete, coherent worldview. 4. The human experience, karma, devotion, and the path to liberation. That brings us right to the human experience within this vast cosmic drama, exploring karma, devotion, the path to liberation. The Bhagavata goes deep into the cycle of existence, the human predicament. What does it say is the primary architect of our destiny? We often look outside, but the text points elsewhere, doesn't it?
It does, unequivocally. It is the mind alone, O ruler of men, that brings about the birth and death of living beings. That's profoundly empowering, but also quite sobering. It highlights the mind's central, powerful role as the sculptor of destiny. It tells us it's not just external circumstances or some fixed fate dictating our experiences, but our internal mental state, thoughts, desires, attachments that actively drive the cycle of reincarnation. Our consciousness isn't passive, it's the engine of our continuous existence.
That puts incredible power and responsibility squarely on our mental state. And it seems attachment, especially to material desires, is a huge part of the problem. The illusion of attachment.
Precisely. It explains that so long as the jiva, oblivious of its real self-interest, finds a home providing sexual enjoyment, suffers torments of various kinds there. The jiva is the individual soul. This indicates the soul, caught in the illusion of identifying with the temporary material body and its fleeting desires, especially sensual pleasure, forgets its true, eternal, spiritual nature. Consequently, it experiences continuous suffering, entanglement. It's a profound warning against prioritizing fleeting worldly enjoyments over lasting spiritual well-being, showing how our misdirected affections bind us to this cycle of distress.
So this is why the cycle of action, karma, continues seemingly without end. It's driven by this attachment.
Exactly. The text elaborates. Moving from one sphere, earth, to another, heaven or hell, with the subtle body, the human soul goes on reaping the fruit of his actions, performed in previous existences, and unceasingly, performing fresh actions, thus paving the way for future births. It's a continuous, self-perpetuating cycle. Every action, good or bad, motivated by attachment and false identification, creates an impression, karma, that determines future experiences, future births. It's unceasing until one gains true knowledge, understands their real identity, and breaks free from this loop of cause and effect.
The Bhagavata uses a really vivid analogy for this continuous cycle, how the soul transitions, the caterpillar. Tell us about that. It's a powerful image of continuity.
Yeah, the analogy is quite precise, striking. Just as a caterpillar does not leave its foothold until it is caught at another, the jiva does not give up its identification with the previous body until it takes another body. Earthly or aerial, and so on, with the exhaustion of karma responsible for the existence of the previous body. It beautifully illustrates how the soul, even at the moment of death, is already gravitating towards its next embodiment. It doesn't just float aimlessly. Its accumulated karma, deep-seated desires, mental impressions are already guiding it towards the next suitable body. It emphasizes the continuous, seamless transition, underscoring the relentless nature of the birth-death cycle until liberation, a powerful reminder of how our present actions impact our future, which, raises that important question. How can we possibly break free from this seemingly endless cycle if our mind is perpetually caught, creating new karma, new bodies driven by desires?
That's the critical point. And it's where the Bhagavata presents its supreme path, its ultimate solution. Bhakti Yoga, the path of pure devotion. It declares, a mind fixed on me through the intense practice of devotion and steady thereby, that is the only means for men in this world to attain final beatitude. This positions devotion not just as a path, but as the most direct, effective, accessible means to transcend the cycle. Especially in the Kali age, it's about completely reorienting the mind, shifting focus from fleeting material things to the eternal divine.
Exactly. And the text gives incredibly practical, accessible methods for cultivating this devotion. It's not just abstract. First, hearing the stories of Bhagavan Vasudeva, faith in and a relish for such stories. Just listening sincerely begins to purify the mind, create spiritual magnetism. Then singing his praises is vital, as his praises sanctify those who listen to or sing them. actively glorifying the divine name, pastimes through chanting, singing, engaging voice and hearing. Another key practice, meditating on the Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with the marks whose splendor dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. A profound visualization to connect with the divine form, focusing on the most sacred, humble aspect.
So it's about engaging all your senses, mind, voice in divine activities. What else helps cultivate this devotion? What about external factors?
Beyond individual practice, the fellowship of those who look upon me as their sole deity is absolutely crucial. Being with like-minded devotees, singing glories together, cultivating even-mindedness, tranquility, and freedom from animosity, fundamental. Emphasizes a supportive spiritual community. It also involves a desire to give up identifying himself with the body, house, etc., renouncing false identifications, attachments that bind us. Finally, thoroughly controlling the breath, the indriyas, and the mind, and withdrawing it from all objects and fixing it in my pure self is emphasized, indicating a disciplined, focused approach. Reining in senses and thoughts, directing them toward the divine, it's holistic, practical, deeply transformative.
Sounds like a truly comprehensive, holistic approach of external actions, internal focus, conscious association. And the Bhagavata claims this path of devotion is unparalleled, right? Not just a way, but the way.
Yes, it states with powerful conviction, "For in this world, this path of devotion is the best of all, in that it is full of bliss because it has no fear from any quarter. On this path tread pious, desireless souls who are amiably, kindly disposed towards all and devoted to Bhagavanaraya." This highlights devotion as joyful, fearless, open to all, leading directly to ultimate beatitude, supreme happiness, liberation. Unlike other paths, maybe involving rigorous austerities, complex philosophy, intense meditation, challenging in Kali Yuga devotion is portrayed as inherently blissful, accessible to anyone sincere, offering immediate relief from fear, anxiety, leading to the highest realization. It's truly a path of grace.
So devotion is presented as the supreme blissful path. But what about the consequences of deviating or engaging in actions contrary to spiritual principles? The Bhagavata doesn't just offer an ideal, it shares compelling narratives illustrating these points. Powerful cautionary tales, inspirations. Let's start with Dhundukari. What was his fate? What lesson does it impart about moral responsibility?
Dhundukari's story is a stark, rather grim warning about misusing human birth and spiritual privilege. Born into a good family, a Brahmin family, but he squandered it through terrible misdeeds. He confesses, "I am no other than your own brother, Dhundukari. The status of a Brahmin was forfeited by me through my own fault. Numberless sins were committed. I killed many men, and as such was tortured to death by public women." His story shows how dramatically one can fall from privilege due to gross misconduct, violence, greed, debauchery, and suffer severe karmic consequences, even in this life. Emphasizes the critical importance of ethical living, self-control, regardless of birth or position, for spiritual progress.
That's a grim tale of immediate, profound consequence. Actions have reactions, undeniably. And what's striking is that even advanced spiritual practitioners, though seemingly far along, can stumble, right? The royal sage Bharata is a prime example.
Indeed, Bharata, a great king who renounced everything for spiritual practice, got distracted by a seemingly innocent attachment. He was diverted from devotional practices by his own evil destiny appearing in the form of that young antelope. He became so attached to a young deer, he saved nurturing it, caring for it, constantly thinking of it, that he neglected his primary spiritual duties. As a result, at death, his mind was fixed on the deer, and he was reborn as a deer.
Reborn as a deer?
Yeah.
Wow.
It emphasizes that even for advanced yogis, subtle attachments, even seemingly harmless ones, can be huge obstacles. Underscores the pervasive nature of material entanglement, the need for constant vigilance, dispassion, surrender. Attachment can ensnare even the most disciplined mind.
And it's not just specific actions or attachments to living beings. The Bhagavata also warns about the illusion of worldly pleasures in general, highlighting their impermanence, their inability to provide lasting satisfaction, really challenges our usual ideas of happiness.
It does. The text explicitly states, riches, wife, animals, sons, houses, land, elephants, treasury, and luxuries. All kinds of wealth and enjoyments are momentary and fleeting. What delight can they afford to a mortal? A powerful, direct reminder of the ephemeral nature of all material possessions, relationships, sensory gratifications. Clinging to these transient sources is ultimately futile. They're temporary, can't provide the lasting contentment the soul seeks. It encourages a shift in perspective to seek deeper, enduring fulfillment beyond fleeting material delights.
Given all these challenges, karma, impermanence, Kali Yuga difficulties, What does the Bhagavata say about the ultimate value, the unique significance of human birth? Why is it so precious?
Human birth is deemed incredibly precious, rare. The text asserts, he who fails to realize his own essential nature even after attaining birth in the human species, where one can hope to acquire both knowledge of the self and wisdom, can get no peace of mind anywhere. Human birth is presented as a unique, unparalleled opportunity, a rare chance for self-realization, liberation, not readily available in other species. We have the capacity for both scriptural knowledge, intellectual understanding, and direct wisdom, experiential knowledge of self. Squandering this chance by indulging in temporary pleasures or misidentifying with the body leads to continued unrest, suffering. We miss the very purpose of this elevated existence. It's the ultimate chance to break free. Compelling narratives. Stories that embody the Bhagavata's teachings.
That's a powerful, sobering message about our responsibility. So to really bring these teachings about karma, devotion, the supreme being to life, the Bhagavata is full of these compelling narratives, not just myths, but profound parables, living examples of the principles we've discussed, vividly illustrating consequences, triumphs. Let's dive into some stories that truly embody the Bhagavata's teachings. First, 𝗏𝗲's arrogance and Lord Siva's intervention. What happened there? What principle does it illustrate?
The story starts with a powerful progenitor, great ritualist, holding a grand sacrifice. He sees Lord 𝗂𝗅𝗍𝗏, Siva, his son-in-law, already seated but not offering the expected deference. Receiving no attention from him, 𝗏𝗲 grew indignant. He looked with angry eyes at Siva as if he would burn him, and then publicly insulted Siva, whom he considered unconventional, impure, while asserting he spoke neither from ignorance nor from spite.
Sounds incredibly arrogant, despite claiming pure intentions. Represents a kind of rigid religiosity without humility, maybe? What was the consequence of this arrogance towards Siva?
His arrogance led to a severe direct consequence, illustrating that even the learned, powerful, outwardly pious can fall prey to pride, disrespect. Lord Siva, deeply disrespected, sent his fierce attendant, Virabhadra, who disrupted the whole sacrifice, embodying cosmic fury. As a direct result, 𝗏𝗏 ended up with the head of a goat above the neck.
A goat's head.
Yes. Not just physical punishment, a profound symbolic humiliation. Stripping him of intellectual pride, human form, replacing it with a goat's head often associated with stubbornness, folly. The story powerfully emphasizes humility, respect for all divine manifestations, the dire consequences of spiritual arrogance, especially disrespecting pious souls or divine aspects that don't fit our preconceived notions.
Pretty clear message about pride. Now, the saga of Vritra and Indra. This story is incredibly rich, surprising twists, especially regarding good devil, devotion's power. What made Vritra the demon so formidable?
Vritra possessed an extraordinary boon from the Lord, making him virtually invincible. He can be killed neither with dry nor with wet things, since a boon has been conferred on him by me. This unique, specific boon, granted by the Supreme Lord himself, made him incredibly powerful, seemingly unkillable by conventional means, an existential challenge to the gods, especially Indra, their king.
So how did the battle between Vritra and Indra play out, given Vritra's immense, almost unique power?
Vritra showed immense, overwhelming strength. In their epic battle, when Vritra hurled his mace, smitten with the mace, Arvata, Indra's elephant, along with Indra, retreated, its mouth broken. Even more astonishingly, the thunderbolt dropped down from Indra's hand, showing Vritra's might, his ability to completely disarm and shake Indra, the thunderbolt wielder.
But then Indra does kill Vritra using a special weapon from a sage's bones, neither wet nor dry, circumventing the boon. And the consequences of this seemingly righteous act were severe for Indra, weren't they? Paradoxical.
Yes, profoundly so. Despite defeating a formidable enemy, the sin of having killed a Brahmin came upon Indra. Though outwardly a demon, was spiritually advanced, a great, thus considered a Brahmana. Because of this act, Indra suffered untold agony and no peace of mind returned to him. This highlights incredible karmic complexity. Even a seemingly righteous act can incur severe sin if the enemy has higher spiritual merit. Emphasizing divine justice operates on different principles than human morality, considering the spiritual state. Indra's agony shows even kings of heaven face karmic reactions.
Okay, let's unpack this further. A demon who merges with the Lord after death. This really challenges our usual ideas of good and evil, villainy and salvation. How does Vritra, the great antagonist, ultimately attain liberation? What's the profound lesson here?
This is truly the most astonishing, profound part of the narrative, a core Bhagavata teaching. Despite being Indra's enemy, Vritra was, at heart, a great devotee. His battle with Indra was, for him, a means to an end, fixing his mind on the Supreme Lord, even in combat. Because of his unflinching devotion, even in his final moments, the text states, issuing forth from the body of Vritra in the form of an effulgence, the soul of Vritra entered and merged into the Lord, while all the people present there looked on with wonder. This exemplifies the supreme, unparalleled power of devotion, Bhakti Yoga, that transcends conventional morality, karma. It teaches that the purity, intensity of one's consciousness and devotion can outweigh external labels of good or evil, even past karma. Vritra's story teaches liberation comes from fixing one's mind entirely on the divine, regardless of external circumstances or cosmic role. A truly radical perspective on spiritual progress, highlighting divine grace.
That's a profoundly different perspective. Next, the iconic story of Prahlada and Hiranyakashipu, classic tale of devotion's triumph over tyranny. What was Hiranyakashipu's background? What fueled his animosity towards Vishnu?
Hiranyakashipu, through severe austerities, got powerful boons making him virtually immortal, couldn't be killed by man-beast, day-night, inside-outside, by any weapon, etc. Made him incredibly arrogant, tyrannical, gained a golden effulgent form, usurped the thrones of guardians of the various spheres ruling the universe. He harbored a deep, burning grudge against Lord Vishnu because Vishnu had killed his brother, Hiranyaka, in the Varaha incarnation. Consumed by hatred, he saw anyone worshipping Vishnu as his enemy, declaring, "Surely he is responsible for the death of my brother. It is this vile fellow who worships like a servant the feet of Vishnu, the slayer of his uncle." Shows how intense personal animosity can drive opposition even to the divine.
So, a powerful, arrogant king consumed by hatred for the very deity his own son, Prahlada, worshipped with unwavering devotion. How did Prahlada maintain that devotion despite his father's terrifying nature, constant threats? Seems impossible.
Prahlada's devotion was indeed extraordinary, a beacon of resilience. The text marvels. It is really a great wonder that, though Rajasika, by temperament, you have conceived such an unflinching devotion to Lord Vasudeva. Despite his father's repeated, brutal attempts to kill him poison, elephants, cliffs, serpents, fire, burk, Prahlada remained steadfast, completely absorbed in remembering the Lord, never wavered, knowing the Lord was within his heart, protecting him. His story shows true devotion isn't contingent on external circumstances or approval. It's an internal, unshakable state.
And how did the Lord ultimately intervene? Protecting Prahlada, punishing Hiranyakashipu, cleverly circumventing all those foolproof boons.
Lord Vishnu manifested in that unique, terrifying form, 𝗫𝗫, man-lion, neither fully man nor beast, bypassing the boon, appeared at twilight, neither day nor night, disemboweled Hiranyakashipu on his lap at the palace threshold, neither inside nor outside, using his claws, not a conventional weapon, circumvented all the boons. This divine intervention underscores the Lord's absolute power, his promise to always protect devotees. After protecting Prahlada, the Lord promised him, "Even persons following your way of life will become my devotees. Indeed, you will serve as a model for all my devotees." The ultimate testament to unwavering devotion, divine justice, the Lord's compassion for those who sincerely surrender.
Incredible story of divine justice, boundless love for a devotee, even in the most hostile environment. Next, Gajendra Moksha. Divine intervention, power of a heartfelt call for help. What was the elephant's dire plight?
Gajendra, a powerful elephant king, was seized in a lake by a mighty alligator, felt much distressed. Not a brief struggle. The alligator held him for 1,000 years. Despite his immense strength, his herd's efforts, he was utterly unable to escape the alligator's grip. Symbolizes the soul caught in material existence, the cycle of time, unable to free itself by its own efforts, however powerful it seems.
And in utter desperation, exhausted, helpless, he offered a prayer. What was it? How did the Lord respond to this final, sincere plea?
In that moment of helplessness, realizing no one else could save him, Gajendra uttered with great difficulty, on account of pain, the words, "Hail to you, O Lord Naraya, the preceptor of the universe." Not a ritual prayer, one of complete surrender, a desperate, heartfelt cry from his deepest being. The Lord's response was swift, immediate, illustrating his boundless compassion, responsiveness to sincere devotion. The text describes, beholding Srihari mounted on Garu with the discus uplifted, and holding up its trunk with a lotus, the elephant uttered, "Hail to you, O Lord Naraya." He didn't hesitate, came at once, saving Gajendra, granting liberation. Vividly illustrates the Lord's immediate response to sincere devotion. A desperate, heartfelt call born of genuine surrender is always answered.
Truly heartwarming, powerful narrative about responsiveness to devotion, power of sincere prayer. Finally, Prithu Maharaja, the first constitutional monarch. represents an ideal ruler, integrating spiritual principles with righteous governance. What was his reign like? Why is he held so high?
𝗵𝗆 Maharaja ruled over the entire globe with its 7 divisions. His reign was so beneficial, aligned with divine principles, it's famously called the milking of earth, an allegory representing his beneficial rule bringing unprecedented prosperity, as if he literally milked earth like a cow, causing resources to manifest for subjects' welfare. Introduced agriculture, town planning, established social order, made the earth productive, peaceful, governed not for personal gain, but for his people's well-being, spiritual advancement.
And his lasting legacy. The text says all the so-called rulers and guardian deities enjoy, even to this day, the remains of whatever was achieved by his valor. That's an incredibly far-reaching, enduring impact.
His legacy was indeed immense, timeless. The text emphasizes his valor, foresight, righteous rule, established a standard benefiting not just his time, but future generations, even celestial beings, means the principles of prosperity, order, well-being he established continue to be enjoyed, flowing from his original virtuous actions. Highlights the enduring impact of a truly just, virtuous leader governing with spiritual wisdom. And ultimately, it says he eventually ascended to the highest abode of the Lord, signifying even a righteous ruler, by governing with divine principles, maintaining spiritual consciousness, can achieve the ultimate spiritual goal. His life shows worldly success and spiritual liberation aren't mutually exclusive, can be harmoniously integrated through principled living. So if we connect all this to the bigger picture, the Srimad Bhagavata, illuminated by these sources, these incredible narratives, presents this cohesive, detailed, utterly profound worldview. Every element, intricate cosmology, Kali age challenges, individual actions, dramatic divine interventions is imbued with deep meaning, purpose. It's about recognizing the divine presence everywhere, understanding the mechanics of our existence, realizing true happiness, peace, liberation stem from aligning with that ultimate reality through devotion.
Indeed. And the message for you, our listener, is that this deep dive isn't just about ancient stories or abstract philosophies. It's about the timeless universal principles woven within them, profoundly relevant today. Whether it's the impermanence of worldly desires, the supreme power of devotion, the universe's mechanics, or the consequences of choices, there's an aha moment waiting, offering concrete insights for navigating your own life. So what does this all mean for you now that we've taken this extensive deep dive? It means you now have, hopefully, a comprehensive overview of this incredible, monumental text, the Srimad Bhagavata. Equipped with its key facts, compelling narrative, most profound philosophical insights, it's a foundational understanding that can enrich your perspective on spirituality, history, reality, the human condition, offering clarity, inspiration for your own journey.
Which raises, perhaps, an important question for you to ponder as you reflect on all this. In an age where information is abundant, but true understanding feels scarce, where our minds are constantly bombarded, how might cultivating a purified mind, as described and exemplified in the Bhagavata, help you navigate this information overload, help you find your own clear, unwavering path to deeper knowledge, lasting peace, and ultimate fulfillment?
A perfect thought to leave you with as you continue your own deep dive into the boundless world of knowledge and self-discovery. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We hope this exploration has given you not just information, but profound inspiration.